Good to go. All right, good evening, everybody. I just hit that. There it is. All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order at 6:32. And we have an oath of office. Have you already done it? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the oath of office for our newest member, Mr. David Peterson.
Nice.
Whatever you want.
Clancy wants a picture.
Yeah, I'm sure it happened.
If you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, David Peterson,
I, David Peterson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
execute the duty
execute the duty
of the Economic Development Corporation
of the Economic Development Corporation
for the City of Cibolo, Texas,
for the City of Cibolo, Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United States,
of the United States,
the State of Texas,
State of Texas,
and the City of Cibolo.
and the City of Cibolo.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay.
All right.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you aboard, David. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. We're going to go ahead and move on to roll call. The only person that we are short is Kevin. Y'all didn't get an email or anything?
He texted me that he's sick, but he's supposed to.
Email. Okay. So do we need him? Don't you? Okay. Then we'll move on to invocation and the moment of silence. All right. Now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, moving on to the longest paragraph we have. Citizens to be heard. All right. This is the only time during the Cibolo Economic Development Corporation meeting that a citizen can address the corporation. In this, it is the opportunity for visitors and guests to address the CEDC on any issue to include agenda items. Part of this is cut off. Is yours cut off?
Yes,
Okay. Yeah, item.
it's up here.
Oh, there we go. Items. All visitors wishing to speak must fill out the sign-in roster prior to the start of the meeting. The CEDC may not deliberate on any non-agenda issue, nor may any action be taken on any non-agenda issue at this time. However, the CEDC may present any factual response to items brought up by citizens. Attorney General Opinion JC 0169. Limit of 3 minutes each. All remarks shall be addressed to the corporation as a body. Remarks may also be addressed to any individual member of the CEDC so long as the remarks are about matters of local public concern and not disruptive to the meeting or threatening to the member or any attendee, including city staff. Any person violating this policy may be requested to leave the meeting, but no person may be requested to leave or forced to leave the meeting because of the viewpoint expressed. This meeting is live streamed. So we have a couple of people. So the first person is Tandra Moore. How you doing, Tandra? Come on up. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Doing good.
Awesome. All right. Well, I am just going to share my experience with the chamber as a business owner. Again, my name is Tandra Moore, the owner of Zen Bubble in Cibolo, and we have been chamber members for 2 years. My experience with the chamber started when I opened my business and going through the process, with the city and everything. Unfortunately, I was given some misinformation and didn't know. So I was just, operating, going along, and joined the chamber because that's what you do as a business. And the chamber said, hey, there's some things that are not in order. You got it. And I was like, wait, no, I was told. And they came in and helped me to correct everything, get everything the right way, and have my ribbon cutting. And they just were tremendous in that process because, as you may or may not know, sometimes going through permitting and all that stuff can be a process. But they were just super helpful. Anytime I hit a bump in the road or something and it can be discouraging, they stepped right in and helped me. So that was kind of the start of this blossoming relationship. Because I just thought, the chamber is just something you do as a business. I didn't really know all the benefits. And then I saw all the classes, and I started attending, different classes, learning things, marketing, AI, all this good stuff. And then my business had to do a relocation, and it was like, oh no, another bump in the road. And to be honest, I considered closing my doors at that time because it was just a lot. It was just a lot. And I went to the chamber, sat in front of the board, and they were like, absolutely not. We've got you. Let's go. They helped me put a game plan together. And the city was also helpful with that as far as relocating. They were like, we love you. We want you to stay in Cibolo. So they were grateful. And let's see, we went through the relocating successfully. Then it was ribbon cutting number 2. And again, it was just that process of the chamber being right there helping me. And then where we relocated, there's now major construction going on. So we had a successful ribbon cutting, business was booming, and then all of a sudden major construction and things started going backwards. And I was back at the chamber and I was like, guys, I think I gotta close again. And they were like, no, absolutely not. Here's some solutions. One of them was turning to the city there to see what grant opportunities were available. And again, just like the permitting process, sometimes the grant process can be a lot and intimidating. And to be honest, I felt very confident going through the process with the chamber behind me every step of the way. Anytime I, had anything, just they were there. And we were awarded the grant, and literally that grant helped us to keep our doors open. So we are still there. Construction is still there, but we are still there. We are making it. We are thriving in the midst of. And the chamber has something called the Epic Business Mentoring. So I went through it one time. That was when I was relocating. And then after I got established in my business, because now the business is in a different place, but we were having to pivot again. And through that pivot, I went back to the chamber and I said, guys, I need round 2. And I did. I just did round 2 with the Epic Business Mentoring. And so again, I left with homework and strategies and different things to implement in my business. And I get excited about my homework. I really do, because in those moments, where it's a lot, that blueprint helps me to get back on track. And it says, okay, it may be a lot right now, but let me start here. And then I can go here. And then I go back and they're like, okay, what homework did you do? What do you have? So we just did that. And honestly, any business that comes to me, that comes through my doors, and they're like, how are you doing it? The first thing I do is tell them, you have to join the chamber. They are an amazing support, the resources, the connections, and just the other businesses that I've connected with. I've got different businesses that are a part of the chamber that now sell their products in my store. And the connections, or even my marketing is now done by, somebody that's a part of the chamber. So the connections, the advocacy that I have received, I will forever sing the chamber's praises for the way they have supported me and my business and continue to do so, and just help me to feel confident even with the city. Like, I want to have all my permits and all my things and everything the way that I'm supposed to, and they are just amazing with helping me to make sure that I do that. So to me, the chamber and the city is like a Batman Robin, ketchup and mustard, peanut butter and jelly. I mean, whatever combo you want to come up with. That's what it is for me. So again, my name is Tandra Moore, owner of the Zen Bubble, proud chamber member, and also just proud to be here in the city of Cibolo. I couldn't have chosen a better place to open my business. So thank you.
We really appreciate you. We love the chamber. Thank you for being part of the city of Cibolo, and thank you for coming up here and talking.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. All right, the next person is Charles Smith. How are you doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
I got the same thing as the previous speaker. I'm here to support the chamber, the Shirt, Cibolo, and Selma Chamber. Where do I start? 10 years ago, Maggie and her team were the first people that reached out to us as we were building just up the road at Cibolo Marketplace. Our business is Embrace Orthodontics. My wife and I, run the business, mom and pop business. They walked in and said, "Hey, here's some opportunities for you. Is there anything you need help with?" We're like, "Yeah, this would be great. This would be great. Come and do these luncheons with us." And man, I'll tell you what, they let us know about the Cibolo Festival and just really got us off and running, and started getting, with the ribbon cutting, and started getting exposure to the business, stuff we didn't even think about when we first moved to Cibolo. And we're going to open up the business there. And that was 10 years ago. And it's not stopped. I also became one of their board directors, and I'm retired now, but I did 6 years on the board. Had a great experience with that. I got to see what Maggie and her team and the board, all the complex situations. You talk about people trying to build, and there's tree ordinances and helping people with these kind of things. But recently, I'd say a recent thing I can kind of contest to or discuss is we had this Corporate Transparency Act a year ago. And so, the United States government was wanting to know who owns your business, right? Well, if you don't sign this thing, there could be some ramifications. Well, I didn't even know it existed, right? And I'm just chit-chatting with Maggie, and Maggie, or maybe she sent an email, maybe she blasted on email, call her up, I'm like, "Hey, what is this?" And she's like, she tells me about it. Then I call my accountant. She goes, "Oh, that's a real thing." And I'm like, "Well, why didn't you tell me?" And she's like, "Well, it's kind of floating around. They haven't made a decision yet." I go, "Yeah, but I kind of have to have it on my radar." So Maggie was my go-to. And I had a business owner across the street from me, lives across the street from me. I told him, he's like, what? My accountant didn't tell me either. So I passed it on to multiple other friends that own businesses. During COVID, she got the president of a hospital to give talks about COVID and mitigation and, what are we really looking at? This stuff was invaluable, especially it was provided where we could watch a remote. We didn't have to, leave our house and go do these things. But I could go on and on about Maggie and her team. I think you guys probably, Maggie. She's amazing, and the chamber's amazing. But I just wanted to put my 2 cents in for these guys and let you know that, I don't think we would be where we're at as fast as we got there if it wasn't for the chamber. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time.
I appreciate you. Thanks for being part of the city of Cibolo. So that is all the citizens to be heard. We will go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. All items listed below are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the corporation and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the corporation members request, which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda. Item 7A, approval of minutes of the regular Economic Development Corporation meeting held on, June 18th, 2026. 7B, approval of the financial and sales tax reports for May 2026. And 7C is approval of reimbursement to the City of Cibolo General Fund for staff time working on Cibolo Economic Development Corporation projects for June 2026. Anybody have any questions about it? Anything? I'll need a motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve items 7A, 7B, and 7C under the consent agenda.
I'll second.
So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. All right, moving right along. We're going to do the committee report.
Yeah. For the committee reports, just from a staff standpoint, we will get back on a good schedule. Vacations, life happened in July and June, as a matter of fact. So we will get back on schedule with scheduling those committee meetings and getting everything fleshed out through those committees.
Perfect. So we'll move on to 9. So 9A, welcome the new board member, Mr. David Peterson. I appreciate you being here. Looking forward to all your knowledge that you've acquired, being a past president of the CDC and all your endeavors before that. So thank you for being a part of this. You have anything?
You don't have cake?
What's that?
She wanted cake.
Oh, no.
So we'll move on to 9B, discussion presentation from the chamber related to fiscal year 2027 membership value, organizational contributions, and benefits to the city and the CEDC.
Okay, I'm going to introduce this and turn it over to Maggie, who you've heard from 2 speakers previously. As previously mentioned at other meetings, to bring Mr. Peterson up to speed, the EDC, the Economic Development Corporation, has been asked to take on the funding for our chamber memberships. Last month, the Tri-County Chamber came and presented. The chamber is presenting this evening. So Maggie will share what the chamber does for us, and that will help inform a budgetary decision that will come later in the meeting. So I'll turn it over to Maggie. Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
You're my blind side. You should just be able to arrow back and forth.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening, Maggie.
Very happy, a little humbled, a little verklempt. That was just, you hope that when you do your job, no matter what your job is, that you can make that impact. And so to hear that, I didn't know what they were going to say. I know I asked them to be here and just give a chamber experience so y'all could have kind of an idea, but thank you all so much. Also, I'd like to introduce my board chairman, Jay Johnson. He is my chair for 2026, and he's here if you want to ask him any questions too. Otherwise, I'm going to proceed on. We have a long history together. You all actually started in 2009. In talking to Peggy Simmons before she left, I said, how did that all happen? And basically, she just said that at that time, you all have no Chamber of Commerce, and that the city council at that time decided, you know, all we have really here is rooftops. And we need to see if we can be a part of a business organization to network and to make connections. And so they decided to join the Shirts Chamber at that time. And so a year later, in 2010, I was brought on as their president, and I'm starting my 17th year there. And when I started, the first thing I sought to do was build strong relationships with all 3 cities that were in the chamber. So I started meeting. I have worked through all 5 of your mayors during that time. I have worked through city managers during that time, the 3 of them. In 2016, because of our long-standing relationship, I just thought it was appropriate, and my board agreed that we needed to add the name Cibolo and Selma as well to our name so that we could fully recognize that we are your Chamber of Commerce and we want to support any and all things that you all are doing. And then, of course, 2026, can't wait. I believe it's November. We will have our Cibolo Chamber of Commerce office here, and I just got goose pimples saying it. The impact. Since 2010 of me coming on, we have celebrated more than actually 200 plus business openings, expansions, and milestones in Cibolo. We supported the business growth, and not just through the ribbon cuttings, as you know, through advocacy, through coming to city council, through working with EDC. And these are some of the names. Of course, you can see big box names, you can see mom and pop names. And we like to be right there in the middle. We feel confident enough that we have enough knowledge to be able to talk on the same level if big box companies come in and need something, because they have needs different than mom and pops. Mom and pops need the connectivity, the community awareness, you know, to get the people through the doors. Well, if you're an Ishan, you have different needs than that. And so we'd like to think that we can accommodate all needs for all kinds of businesses. Cibolo volunteer leadership. We have the most awesome group of volunteers within our chamber. There's 5 volunteer committees, and this is not counting my board of directors. We have the mentor board, Champ, Ambassadors, Hyper, MAC. There are 14 representatives currently from Cibolo, from Cibolo businesses, and I did a little breakdown of who currently is within our volunteer groups. Also, and this was, and I apologize, and I told Clancy I was going to fess up, got a little finger excited on some of the numbers here and kind of transpose some, but I'm still pretty excited that out of our businesses, and you can see by the pie chart, is that almost 18% of the businesses that make up our chamber are Cibolo businesses. That's pretty awesome to me. The larger group, you can see the other communities include 20 other cities: Universal City, Live Oak, Seguin, New Braunfels, and it goes on and on and on. So our reach is pretty wide, but that is why, with us being centered as Schertz, Cibolo, and Selma, it's even more so important that we really embrace those relationships with those cities, because I can't be everywhere at all times. You are my main focus. Schertz is my main focus. Selma is my main focus. And so I feel that that focus has caught the interest of those 20 other cities worth of businesses. And who knows, maybe they're going to be so interested, they're going to move their businesses to our cities. Supporting Cibolo businesses. So the businesses themselves, and you've already heard from a couple of them, I want to work alongside the city staff. I want to help bridge the communications, because the biggest thing that I've seen, and you may have heard, whether attending city council meetings or maybe even in this chamber, is sometimes people come in and they think they know what's going on, but they haven't talked to the right person. You know, you can't get your electricity on if you're talking to the water company. And sometimes what works in one city does not work in all cities. And so we have tried really hard to reach out to the businesses and get them on the right path. So in the instance of like Zen Bubble, of where there were certain things that we knew out of place, we didn't want to come to city council or EDC and say, hey, do you know any of your businesses? You know, we want to go to them and let them know, because we know it's just a misstep. And then we want to connect them with the people that can get them on the right side, because we don't want them in trouble. We want them to stay in Cibolo. And so that's what we've done. The EDGE grants, I've been before this board to petition on behalf of some businesses. I love it when you all include me in strategic forecasting in these meetings. If I'm available, I come running. Legislative agendas, white letter support. I have done a lot of GVEC parrot grants for members. Obviously, backed up the EDGE grants. Any kind of white letters of support with legislation, whether it's local or state or federal, the businesses know that I'm going to get on it. And then, of course, I have petitioned City Council on behalf of the members for variances. One of them being a really big one was Grampy's Pizzeria, which I was so happy that they got that, and they continue to progress and be successful. And here's some pictures of, you know, the mentorship program, or Epic Education, which was brought up by Tandra. Partnerships, Leadership Corps. I love bringing Leadership Corps class here. We have Government Day, and they learn everything they never knew about economic development, about the city of Cibolo, how they run their fire, their police, developments that they just take for granted. And especially if they live in this city and they're taking Leadership Corps program, it just blows their mind. So it's really a great partnership. Now, supporting Cibolo as the member, because the city of Cibolo is the actual chamber member. These are the different things that we do for you all specifically to support the city and how the city operates and works. I don't know if you're aware, but I have arranged a quarterly luncheon with all 3 city managers. This started in 2011, where initially it was to bring them together, just to get them in a room together where they could talk and we could share collaborations and stuff. And it was rough in the beginning, but now I would say it's quite collegiate and a little bit of sibling rivalry if you've ever been to the State of the Chamber or State of the Cities in February, where they try to one-up each other on their videos. But that was one of the main things, is I wanted to build relationships and communication. Also, letter of supports for grants. EDC has reached out several times. Appropriations Committee, I have written letters for the build application for Hakerville Road, Tech Stop for the rail division, for FM 78 and Country Lane, the grade separation on the rail. So we like to do that to support you all, whatever we can. Of course, we are the conductors of your Memorial Day and Veterans Day ceremonies on the opposite years that the other cities aren't, and we do your Meet the Candidate events. And then I've already spoken about Leadership Corps, but I'm always exploring more ways to be able to partner with you all in a very positive way that promotes more growth to Cibolo, brings more business, and keeps a positive outlook on the city. And then the last slide, our chamber's vision for Cibolo, hoping that Cibolo office coming up in November. Continued to talk with Clancy and Rick and Luke and work on more partnerships with businesses within EDC, within, I know there's limitations on certain things, but the EDGE grant has really blown the doors open. Businesses are so excited about that. So we want to talk more, and we do talk once a month. We have meetings once a month to see what else we can do and to let each other know what's going on. I want to launch a signature event that is Cibolo's, that the chamber does. So Selma has the Balloon Fest, and then Schertz has the Health and Home Show. I need a signature event in the city of Cibolo that promotes Cibolo. And I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know where it could be, but that's what I really want to explore next year. And then continue to strengthen the relationships with all the city departments that we have right now. I get more and more understanding about how they work. And again, this communication allows me to ease the tensions that come in when businesses, whether they're already here and they're expanding or they're wanting to plant, and they come in with preconceived notions of what they think it's going to be like. And I can say, let's sit down, let's have a pre-development meeting. What's that? Well, that's where we sit down with everybody and you can find out right now what you need to do. Those have been the most beneficial meetings, and I'd really like to see those happen more. And so I'm actively working on that as well. And beyond that, I'm very excited. And like I said, it's been a long partnership with you all. I look forward to many, many more years. And I want to know if you all have any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but thank you, Maggie, so much for coming up and presenting today. I really do appreciate it.
I
Thank
will
you.
say, I have been involved with the chamber in one capacity or another since 2010. I think when Maggie became president is when I first joined, and she was a huge help to me. She even helped me get a contract with the city of Universal City, which was like way outside of my realm, but she connected me with people and they helped me do the things I needed to do. And she's just been helpful throughout. And then as an EDC member, she is out there doing the best she can for us, advocating for cities, but for businesses in Cibolo. And I just appreciate all the work that you do, your board, your members. It's great to have that support in Cibolo. I thank you.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions. Also, I am a member of the chamber, full disclosure, and I am a member serving on CHAMP, and
We did not know that.
CHAMP is the best. And I have enjoyed every moment. But from this perspective, can you tell me how many employees you have that work for the chamber? How many members on your board are from Cibolo? And how your anticipated front office will be here, and what's your vision for what that looks like?
So we have 5 paid employees full-time, 2 are in Selma, and 3 are in Schertz. And then when we open up the Cibolo office, I will be going to open the Cibolo office because I always open all the new offices, and I want to do that. I predict that we're going to do what we have done, like when we went to Selma, is I'll be open during the week, but only in the morning to start building momentum, because I don't want to just sit there all day. I want them to know, and we'll start ahead of time advertising, guess what, we're open and we're going to be open this. Plus also, if I'm open in the mornings from 8 to 12, that also gives me time to go wander down Cibolo streets and actually be able to be accessible to all those businesses. I'm so excited about that too, because the fact of now, you know, we have the Selma businesses that are going to the Selma location, it's closer, and of course Schertz and Cibolo businesses have always come to Schertz, but now they can just go down the street, they can go across the, you know, from City Hall, and I'm actually here, or I'm just a stone's throw away, that if they say, oh, we have this situation, we really need to meet, let me lock up the door, put the note on the door, I'm on my way. So that is what I see happening. And wait, you had one more question. You said how many? Oh, board. We have 2 board directors. Carmel Terrell is one of our board directors, and Amy with Serve Painters. Amy Reynolds is from Cibolo and is part of our board this year. But in the past, we've had Santikos as a board director, Embrace Orthodontics as part of us, Brighter Futures as part of us. I'm trying to think. I'm forgetting somebody. There was somebody. Most of them stayed for the full 6 years, which is, well, sorry. J2 leadership. But most of them, I'd say with the exception of one, and that was Andrew Brooks because he transferred out, have stayed the full 6 years. And I love that. You know, the steadiness, the foundation that, you know, even though at that time we didn't have a Cibolo presence per se as an office, they still saw the promise and the need and the foundation for that Cibolo voice to be on the board. And I certainly did too. And so it is part of our bylaws now that says, you know, within the makeup, you know, we are going to make sure that there's a minimum of one representative from each city that is on the name of that chamber. So, but we have 2 right now.
Thank you.
Terry, anything?
You bet. Well, not an active member of the chamber myself, but I have seen you in action. And what I really do appreciate, when you're here, Maggie, you're not just here for the chamber, you're here for that business owner. You're digging, scratching, pushing for that business owner. And I've seen the grit in your eye and the spit that comes out when you're in there working for that business owner. And I really appreciate that. Thanks so much. I've had the opportunity to meet and pretty well know most of your the staff member, the 5 staff members, and they have that same work ethic and the level of good character is what we want and it's what we see. And you've done a really good job of not just saying you do and you show, and you exude that, but it is spread throughout your entire workforce there in the chamber. And the workforce is for the business owners, not for look at me. It's for how do we help you. So I appreciate that. Thank
And I
you.
appreciate it. Did I mention 2 of my staffers live in Cibolo?
I like it.
Yes, Lydia and Lauren, my vice president, live in Cibolo and Lydia's lived here quite a long time. Lydia Schultz, I think most of you all know who that is.
No, I love how the chamber's been involved so much. You've done so much to just help every business you get in touch with, and it's amazing to see, and everything you do with them is just phenomenal. Love it.
Thank you.
Anybody got anything else?
Today we kicked off a new group as part of the chamber, one of the perks, but it was also connecting some of the business women in the area as well. And I couldn't have done it without her. It just, her support, I mean, it was like a conversation, then it was done. And that's not, that doesn't, you don't find people that can often facilitate things the way that you do and the way you advocate for the businesses and the way that you support them all day, every day. It's a beautiful thing. So thank you for being you and representing the city of Cibolo, the city of Schertz, and the city of Selma. And I am really excited about a signature event for the city of Cibolo. I'd like to tie it into a running with the herd kind of thing, but that's just me.
I also want to say at that event that was predominantly for female business owners, we had a business retention and expansion item come up. So the connections are real, and the business networking is real. And I think that the support that I have seen come out of the chamber, but most important, the connection back to the community and service to the community has been outstanding. So thank you. I have enjoyed serving with you.
I really appreciate you coming out and presenting this and just doing everything you do for all the business owners, the cities around you, and just helping out everybody. Thank you very much, Maggie.
Thank you.
You know, there is one more question that has to do with finances. If you look at the financial impact on the staff report, it talks about the proposed budget for the CEO membership level being at $778.75, and the presidential is $52.50. Are we CEO now?
Presidential.
No, you are president. I am
Okay.
asking for you to be CEO.
Okay, and in that CEO fee that would be included on the banners or on the front of the web?
Yes, it's on the front of the website at the top with a connectivity. It's also on the front of the luncheon slides. It's on all of our events that come up You know, it says you are a supporting sponsor, doesn't mean that you are actively participating, but it's got your stamp on it, your city logo. Yeah, it's a lot more visibility, and I just feel to myself, well, I'm actually honored that two other CEO, actually three, are Cibolo businesses. So River City Ace Hardware, Cardiology, Dr. Van Adamson, and Santikos are all, and they were the first ones to start it beyond the cities. And I thought, this is so terrific. And they're all three Cibolo businesses.
Yeah, and so the advantage, or then it would be the front page, the exposure during the lunches for new folks that are coming into the community, and then on the magazine that's issued for economic development, what is included for the presidential value? I mean, I know we have the mayor page, we have the city manager page.
Oh, yeah. You also have economic development, the parks, we have the trails, the history of Cibolo, and then we keep track and incorporate all of the businesses. We edit the business directory in the back, and it carries, whether they're members or not, all Cibolo businesses and their numbers and addresses. And then you all don't direct mail it. Maybe you all may go back to that. That's up to you all. I believe you all carry it in the city hall. We do direct mail the shirts and Selma ones to the residents. So once we mail those out and then include our business members and some other entities, it's almost about 20,000 that just get scattered out among those 23 cities of members, and then all the city of shirts, all the city of Selma. And it's digital. It's online too.
And our membership with Greater San Antonio Chamber, we have a membership with Greater San, okay, or the Metro. Do we also have Metro?
Yes, we have both.
Okay, so you're a partner with Metro as well?
Metro Chamber, we exchange courtesy memberships. There's no payment. We don't actively do anything. We don't like go into the databases. They don't go into ours. Same thing with Seguin. We just do that because Metro is not part of our regional chamber. We have an association that New Braunfels, Jonathan Packer, Seguin, Chester, myself, Bulverde Spring Branch, there's about 8 or 9 of us that created a regional chamber, and some of us just joined each other's chambers out of courtesy so that we could kind of be in a round robin. Metro Chamber, when it was North Chamber, and under Dwayne Wilson was a mentor and helped me early on, and so we just did it back then, and it was just our two chambers, and it was done out of friendship. And then this regional thing was separate.
And then one more thing, I did want to point out that the chamber was an aid for us as the city to get in with the San Antonio Business Journal's event in Seguin, if you want to talk about that.
I'm trying to remember the name right now. I had it on the tip of my tongue, but it is the Growth Summit for Guadalupe County. Its first year, Cibolo did not have a seat on the table. Last year, we had a seat at the table, and Mr. Wayne Reed, the city manager, was up there. The other city managers talking about growth. And this year, fiscal 27, it's baked into our marketing to be an equal level sponsor with the city of Seguin. So it's almost co-headlining, if you will, because we are a powerhouse in Guadalupe County and we deserve the seat at the table too. So yes, that Maggie actually did spearhead that, and we had the funds available to do that. So I appreciate that, that vote of confidence. It's for those people who talk about you when you aren't in the rooms with you, that really help boost your reputation.
Thank you for that, Maggie.
That it?
Okay.
Perfect. All right, so now we're going to discuss to move up from presidential to the CEO level sponsorship, correct?
Let me see how I wrote the agenda item. This was discussion and presentation. When we get to the budget, which is 9C, when we did our proposed budget, we put that in there to ensure we had capacity, and we can double check that number with the finance department. It's up to the board, but we baked it into the budget, the proposed budget, to make sure we had budget capacity. But you can make those decisions regarding Tri-County and the chamber in this next item because it is presentation, discussion, and action.
Perfect. So that's all we got to do for this one?
Correct.
Perfect. Thank you again, Maggie. Thank you. Then we will move on to 9C, the presentation, discussion, and action on fiscal year 2027 budget.
Okay. Normally, I do not give this presentation. Miss Anna Miranda is out on vacation. We have Assistant Director of Finance Jessica Donahoe here to help me if I mess up or you have specific calculation questions. Go ahead. Well, you spend time on these things. We've been having this conversation since April, since our first ever board and strategic economic development plan meeting. To give you some background on this, you've seen this in every agenda since that April meeting in some way, shape, or form, even the small little print that didn't print out just right. I'm going to fast forward through the background. So this was paired with the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. We'll talk about that later in the meeting. They're broken apart. But last meeting, the board agreed to fund the $600,000 to GV SUD during... That's the settlement of legal action between GV SUD and the city of Cibolo, and that's for the Bolton Road improvement. That will be taking out a general fund, but it is accounted for in this presentation. If you have questions as I'm going, please just let me know. So we'll go over the budget cycle, key dates to remember. We all know about the EDC, but we will go over that again. Sales tax, which is our primary and our only funding source. Our budget highlights, a 5-year projection, and then our debt structure. So the budget cycle, we're kind of in the middle there. In June, staff submitted proposed budgets to finance. Finance met with Rick and myself and said, okay, we have this capacity, here's what you want. You have the money to do this. You have the board's direction to do this. You can proceed forward. We're kind of in that middle ground before Mr. Reed determines. He's already determined budget capacity, but our budget's different because we have dedicated funding, so we can move a little faster than, say, the general fund. Key dates to remember, we are at the July 21st budget workshop, which is next Tuesday. They will discuss the economic development budget, proposed budget you are reviewing tonight in a 40,000-foot level. And then we go through the normal budget cycle, certified property tax rolls on the 25th. Budget Workshop 3 will give us a better idea of the capacity on the general fund side when it comes to property tax. And then, of course, Mr. Reed delivers his budget in August, council's feedback in August, and then if everything goes according to plan, September you hold the public hearings, tax rate, budget adoption, and starts October 1. Economic Development Corporation, that is you all. You are the corporation for the Cibolo Economic Development Corporation. You are the directors of this. Started in 2007. A partial year of sales tax, $48,000. I'm just going to skip over 08 because 08's a weird year because of everything that happened with the housing. But you look at fiscal year 25, 1.2 million. That is quite the growth. We are a 4B corporation. We can do a lot. We have a lot of flexibility, but our primary role is jobs, and we can fund industrial development and quality of life improvements. And we've done a lot of those this year. The board is appointed by City Council. The board recommends the EDC budget, and then the City Council approves it. And then the City Council also has the final say in our budget. Sales tax. As I mentioned, it's grown 16.9% since 2010, 15.4% in the short 6 years since 2020. I have told you all, I'll get to that one next. FY26, we're within that variance of a 7% increase. So kudos to Anna and her team and Jessica for getting right in that projection. It's always good to stay in that. So we're actually over fiscal 25. Fiscal 27, we went into it thinking a 5% conservative estimate. After finance department crunched the numbers, it's about 6.5%. And that's because of new businesses that are opening. FY 28 to 32, we're keeping that 5%. Seems to be very conservative, gives us enough wiggle room should anything happen. This chart, you guys, if you've been on the board before, if you've read the packets in nauseam, this hockey stick growth of our sales tax. This is a visual representation of how our community has grown. I believe, if I remember correctly, Walmart came in 16 or 17. So you're looking at everything growing after that, around that area, contributing to that. And this forecast is in your packet every single month. Jessica is the one that I bug to create that. So we're tracking perfect for 26, and 27 is in the green on the top. But this is how we're looking for the last 5 years. Our budget highlights: EDC staff, Luke and myself, and a new marketing position will be moving from the general fund into the economic development fund. That represents an impact of roughly $342,000 into the budget. There is plenty of capacity in our budget for this move. Historically, across the state, ED staff members have always been accounted in a type B budget because our primary roles are economic development. When we get to the MOU, it spells out the terms as far as how staff handles economic development, and those are the rules which we operate by. We're adding a third position this year based on our strategic economic development plan. We're adding a marketing administrative position. That position is going to be the spear of all our marketing efforts because there will be only 3 1/3 of us. We get the best third of Rick, and then Luke, myself, and this person to be determined. Edge grant opportunities, as Maggie had mentioned, that has opened the door to a lot of business opportunities in the community. That will be maintained at $200,000. And our one-time cost proposed in this budget that we discussed in April and in the last meeting, a website redesign. We will move off the revised system and launch our own website separate of the cities, but we will still have redirection and control. We just need a website that works for us and not a website, no offense to Revise, or if Jeanette's watching, no offense to her, it just does not work for what we want to do. And then the GV SUD agreement at $600,000, which benefits us in that section of Bolton Road. What you're seeing here is fiscal year 25 on the far left when compared to fiscal 26 budget. Our year-end estimate, FY 26 end of year estimate, and then our FY 27 proposed. That negative change in fund balance is representative of those one-time costs. And you're going to see those just on that bottom side there. And then also the salaries is showing in there as well. That doesn't mean we have negative sales tax growth. That just means there's less money going into the general fund for the fiscal year. I'll give you time to review this. If you have any questions, please let me know. Everybody good? Okay. Our assumptions for 5-year growth, as I mentioned, 5% growth in sales tax is the best conservative estimate we can make based on historic data. We'll have a slight reduction in our interest income, but that interest rate is expected to hold steady. And this assumption's based on a lot of things: 5% increase in salaries annually, inflationary costs, the railroad lease for the file parking lots, and then $200,000 in annual business grants. And then we have debt service, which we will discuss later in this presentation, but that includes the transfers for the multi-event center debt. That debt matures and will be off our books in fiscal year 2030. Transfer to general fund, that's when you approve the reimbursements. That will just be straight staff time and will not be included ED staff anymore. It will just be Jessica's time, Valerie's time, etc. And then the debt service for the EDC land, we'll just call it that, continues through 2036. We expect consistent growth through this whole fund through 2032 based on all those assumptions. And this is just showing you that forecast. This is all this is a forecast. You're seeing that steady growth at the beginning fund balance. What I really pay attention to as the manager of this budget for this corporation is the total revenue line, and right below it. We can control everything below it: services, supplies. If that revenue line does not hit, we can draw back and we can scale back. So as a budget person, that's what I look at when I'm managing the budget and we're expending these funds. And then you see at the very bottom, our fund balance still is growing pretty healthy at 126, and then ending, and this is presuming that we don't increase any of our services, our marketing or anything. This is just flat 5% increases. You see that fund balance going straight into the fund balance at the 2032 mark of 393,000. And this is assuming we do not spend any fund balance in between this and now. And this is just a graphical representation of the bonds and how it changes over time. We are here, we're going into here. And then the debt supported by the EDC. The Multi-Event Center, this debt predates me, but it's my understanding that it was used to improve the Multi-Event Center through lighting and a few other quality of life improvements for those fields. That annual payment, a little over $114,000, and 2030 is a magic year for that debt to be satisfied and off our books. So that will put $114,000 back into our budget for this corporation to decide how to spend it. The $4.125 million in bonds is tied to the EDC land, but the language in the bond allows us, with the remaining $425,000 that was not spent on land acquisition, we can use that any way we see fit within the bond languages for economic development purposes. So if there's an incentive agreement that needs some money to close the gap, we can use that. It's just sitting there. We're paying for it, but it's just sitting there. And that debt will be satisfied through 2036. Presumably, if we take out no more debt by 2036, the corporation will be debt-free from bond debt, at least. Okay, so Justin, you had asked earlier, this is the point of the presentation where board members can have questions. If you have questions on any of the items I've covered, specific line items will require a little bit more research. I have a pretty good brain trust on the budget with Rick and I developing it together. And then the second thing I would like for you to consider, if you support this proposed budget as prepared, you have two options when it comes to approving this budget to send to City Council. You can approve it as presented, or you can approve it with adjustments. And I will turn it over to the board. Staff, we are neutral. This is the corporation's budget as the board sees fit for any items. Justin, I'll turn it over to you.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Does anybody have any questions about the budget? I do not. Terry?
I had asked a few through email, and I appreciate your response. Just make it all public. Okay, so that's what we're doing here now. So reviewing what would have been in the consent agenda item, the May revenue and expense report, you're showing a professional studies budget item that's budgeted at $315,700, and year-to-date just spent $57,000. Then special events was budgeted at $10,500, and year-to-date was spent $30. Just going to explain all that. I'm not fussing, just asking for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The professional study budget line item includes the remainder of the Old Town Plan, which was funded prior to my arrival. That was $160,000. We're nearing the end of that. The remainder of that, which is about $250,000, $249,000, somewhere in that window, is for the Parks Trail Master Plan that was put into the budget last year at council direction. That master plan has yet to be encumbered, so they haven't reserved the funds yet. Jessica and I talked about today, the intent is to encumber those funds before the end of the fiscal year. If they don't, they just go back into the fund balance, and then we have to go through amendments and everything like that.
That's the park trails.
Parks, I say parks and trails, there's one thing missing, but.
Yeah, but the $350,000, that's what.
$250,000 master, that's what was requested by City Council to be in the budget last year during the budget process, and that's what was put in there. And Public Works and the Parks Department is handling the majority of that. I was in the RFP review committee, and I just said, please encumber by October 1. And then your question about special events. If I'm remembering my email correctly, it was right before lunch. Generally, we have special events throughout the year. The year I got here, we did the Best of Cibolo Awards. We did not do that this year because of staff capacity. Our intent is to bring that back in 2027, and that's where we open voting up for the public to vote on their best award for Cibolo businesses. That line item is also when we host dignitaries. So if there's a special event we have to set up and we have to get catering, or we have to do something out of the norm, that is the line item we use for that specific event, those special events. It's not to be designed as a sponsorship to any other events. It's designed to be Economic Development Corporation produced and controlled events.
Second question was pertaining to the Economic Development Services Agreement. Is this the appropriate time for that? And so I think I missed your promotion. That's was part of my question. So we have an Assistant Director of Economic Development, Mr. Harden.
That would be me. I was recently promoted by
okay.
Mr. Reed, July 4th. Part of the MOU, which we'll go over, thanks to your question, Terry, when we developed that with Frank in the city manager's office, we look at it at a grand scale. Where's the department been? Where are we now? And what could happen? In a perfect world, we just keep this document and every year we review it and tweak it a little bit and not make huge changes to it. And that includes staff structure. So prior to me, and I think during Mr. Peterson's time, there was a director, deputy director, and then business support specialist, something like that. As our department grows and expands, those positions come online. So there could potentially be another ED manager. I'm not suggesting that anytime, but we saw it fit to put all that verbiage in there just to have, these are the positions that could happen. It doesn't mean they're happening. It doesn't mean they're funded because you all have the final say on funding those. But we felt it fit to save on legal hours, as I look at Frank, to put it all in there and just have all of it in there. Rick is not in there per se. Rick's portion of his salary, because he is split between our department, is through a transfer in the budget. It's a solid number that just gets transferred out. And I don't remember that number off the top of my head, but it equates to about a third of his salary. A little bit less than a third of his salary.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you. And my apologies for being late on the congratulations for
That's okay. That's okay.
being recognized for what a great job you're doing here. So,
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's right before the holidays. So.
yeah, very good. I'm brand new here, so just fourth meeting on the EDC now, so
I believe so.
I'm a veteran now. And on the budget discussion, I mentioned that I'd like to kind of see whether it's a specific budget item or earmarking some funds or something like that. We haven't made any decisions on the historic committee. What it's going to look like, how it's going to happen, what purpose is it going to serve. But if we're going to have that, it seems like we should have some sort of budget, because if we're going to make recommendations, at least a target dollar amount. If we're going to be a committee making recommendations to the board, there should be some idea of what we're working within. And so do we want to make that, might start thinking out loud and thinking maybe is a historic committee or historic budget line item, or a historic and quality of life budget line item. I made a recommendation that I think about $200,000 for a line item, budget line item there. If you don't need it, you don't spend it, but it seems like it's easier if it's in the budget rather than having an idea than having to go back and work through budget amendments and those sorts of things. My thoughts.
Yeah, I will leave that up to the body as a whole to discuss. I will say the budget capacity, I went back and looked after your email. The budget capacity as the budget sits right now is a little under $170,000 to the good. Our intent as staff when it comes to historic preservation is to bring project by project up and ask the board to consider as a whole, and then figure out the funding after the board gives the green light. If it's the board's preference to have a line item in there that they can approve right out of to speed up things, if you will, that is at the board's direction. I will leave it up to you all. Our intent was to do similar to we do economic development recruitment, where we have the project, it's project specific, and we figure out the funding. Because my concern is if we budget that amount of money, and if over that, we're still at the same starting point. But I will leave it up to the board to discuss and decide the best path forward. You are the corporation directors. I will look to Jessica if it's too complicated to add a line item, or where would you suggest it? Okay, thank you.
I really think we should probably just do item by item, because if we put, say, $100,000 in there, like you said, if we went over that, it's just doing the same thing. And that's just 100,000 sitting there that is allotted to that and not for anything else that we can really.
I agree, and I think especially in our first year, like, let's just kind of see how that looks. Like, we don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know what it's going to cost us. So I think we just wait till we have that and then kind of see how that first year goes, and then we can set a more realistic budget for what we might need moving forward. That's kind of how I see it.
I concur on that one.
I concur as well. I've worked with budgets before, and then we've had money allotted for things, and it literally was like 2 years down the line, we realized that things were getting confused as well. So money, we were like, well, what is this for? What is this for? Everything had its item, and it makes it a little bit cleaner, I think, if you specifically mark it for what it's entailed or intended for.
Anything, David?
Just real quick, Clancy, on the 425 out of the bond, how long does that last?
It's my understanding that that is sitting there until the bond expires.
So
We're paying on the debt at 4.12 and some change. That's just the leftover we have from the purchase.
So 2036, it's around till?
Yeah.
So we've got time to use it?
Yes.
About 10 years.
Okay. That was my only question.
One question on that, is that money invested in a way that it's kind of paying for itself? That 425, if I'm going back in ancient history here when I was on the, not to impugn the school board, but when I was on the school board, I believe that if you sell your bonds, you get all your money. But, am I right, Frank? That if you sell your bonds, you have all your money, you can invest, put it in a bank, or put somewhere the money that you haven't spent, where it's actually drawing some interest. I've never played a banker on television. Yeah.
Yes, we actually have it in its own tax pool account, and so it gets around, right now it's around 3% interest. And it's been sitting in there. If you look at the your monthly revenue and expense reports that you guys get, it has the interest line on it. That's just the money sitting in the bank.
And I'm sorry, I was looking the other way. So it's drawing 3% or we're paying 3%?
It's drawing. We're
Drawing
receiving
3%.
that
Okay.
as revenue.
Thank you.
So for the line item for historic committee, I guess we're on agreement that we don't, not to make a line item for it right now?
That's my recommendation, that we not do one this first year.
For this
My
first year?
recommendation.
Okay.
Same.
Okay. So we won't do a line item for the historic committee?
Okay, no action on that line item. Still, if you have any other questions, now, as you mentioned, Justin, would be the time that we can openly discuss the chamber membership levels now that both presentations are done. It just happened to line up that the budget presentation, because we're so far ahead, good job, guys. It just happened to line up with this same meeting. So it's up to the board as far as funding levels for Tri-County Chamber and then the chamber. But like I had mentioned earlier, we baked in the cost for the Cadillac
CEO.
membership,
Right.
CEO, yes.
Okay. All right.
So my recommendation would be to move up to the CEO level because of what the chamber puts out, what they do, everything we'll get out of it, and all the businesses will get the same kind of exposure. The help we put out there and everything they do, I think it'd behoove us to, I mean, it's extra $2,000, and we get more exposure.
Are you making a recommendation also on the Tri-County Chamber?
Me personally, I think we could probably zero out the Tri-County because I honestly don't really see much of a benefit from it
At this point.
at this point. But that's my opinion. But do y'all have any?
I know the city wants us to take the council wants us to take this budget over through EDC, and if the city has been a part of it for I don't know how many years they've been part of the Tri-County.
I don't have that information, but I would just lead with a lot from what I've
Yeah,
heard.
it's been quite a while. I wouldn't mind staying at where we're exactly at with the Tri-County, but definitely moving up to the CEO for the Shirt Cibolo.
And do we have the budget for both of those? Clint?
Yes, we put, Tri-County did not ask us to increase the
up.
budget number, so in our proposal, we kept that flat.
Where it was?
It was asked for us to build the capacity should the board want to go to the CEO level with the chamber. So they're in the budget as what their costs would be as proposed currently.
Then I agree with Cody. I like being a part of the Tri-County Chamber. I know we're not very active and it's not a lot going on, but I think that's just another outreach for us, especially as we try to grow what we have on I-10. I think it's good to keep all those doors open, so we don't know what might come out of that. And it's, I don't think it's going to break the bank.
How much are we paying for a membership with them? What is it, 700?
For the Tri-County Chamber, it's like $750 annually.
Yeah.
And that's just like the government level. It's not anything. It's like the lowest level for government or nonprofit.
And I'm pretty sure some of the city council members attend those the meetings with the Tri-County, I believe, right? You're not aware of that? Oh, maybe it was the past Councilman Hicks, I think, went to most of those, right? Okay. Just making sure.
Does the budget line for the chambers carry any sponsorships or pay for seats at the lunches or anything like that? Or is this just strictly membership and that money comes from
Those are
somewhere else?
strictly memberships the way we put it in there. And for the luncheons, because it's a variable cost, we put that into a meeting expense line item. And we dole that out as the seats are reserved. For instance, the chamber luncheon next week, Patricia is the only EDC member that will be attending that. So her seat cost comes out of that. Pardon me, her seat costs come out of that.
So we don't need to budget that. And then if Maggie is going to host the grandest of all events in Cibolo this year, then do we contemplate that the city of Cibolo might be a sponsor of that? And do we need to think about, putting money in the budget to be a sponsor for that if it's going to be a Cibolo hosted event? I'm asking, I don't.
Would that be coming out of our events?
We have the special events fund if it's this year. We also have our marketing fund where if it's a sponsorship, we could view that as marketing.
Okay.
And push it out that way.
Okay.
Or line item, not fund. So there are 2 free seats at the luncheon, or 2 seats are included at the CEO level for every luncheon.
I'll be there next week.
So everybody wants to stay a part of Tri-County, 750?
Yeah,
I do.
I think it would behoove us to remain with Tri-County, and I would think that throughout the year, we should entice them to come over and just kind of work with us more, explain how they're working with us more, give us greater introductions to Bear and all the other counties that they work within. I know we've had conversations, and y'all have a great working relationship with a lot of people in Bear County and throughout Guadalupe and Comal. But I think it would be a great idea just to continue our relationship at least to this level with Tri-County, help them grow and boost their abilities. So probably the obvious answer is no, we're not doubling our costs. But our EDC was not meeting the membership with the chamber through the membership with the council. The council was paying for the EDC membership and the council membership. And all we're doing now is separating those dollars. $7,800, did that include the council and EDC, or does it?
It's
Did the
technically-
council pay $7,000 a year to be a member of the chamber, and EDC paid $7,000, therefore it was $14,000? Or is it $7,000
it's-
period?
It's all encompassing. Just
So
like
it's-
our membership to the Greater San Antonio Chamber, even though EDC initiated that and we cover that cost, it's still open to our council members, mayor, and city management, city administration to attend those events with us.
This membership covers all,
Everything, yes.
everybody. Okay, all right. All we're doing is putting it in a different checkbook. Yeah, all right.
You got anything, Charity?
I'm excited to be a part of the CEO. I mean, just when we first started and we got all the Ace hardware and all that, that all was revenue for the city of Cibolo. It makes sense to me to upgrade based on just one of those two. The growth that we're seeing from being a part of the chamber is significant. So I'm all in. Tri-County, I think keeping it where it's at. I know they're going through some changes and growing themselves, getting a building and all of those things. I'd love to see them flourish and support some of the businesses in our city as well. So I think it makes sense to support them, but, just keep it the way it's at.
So I assume everything we've been talking about is keeping it exactly how it's presented, correct?
That would be correct. Since
I
you
just want to
guys-
make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, you didn't want to take action on Terry's suggestion for historic preservation or quality of life improvement line item. And then the discussion I've heard, the direction I've heard is just keep everything as presented.
Okay.
Except for,
No, he presented it with the CEO.
okay, perfect.
Yeah, we put that in there because we needed to make sure we had the capacity, should the
Fantastic.
board want to do it.
David, you got anything else?
No, it's good.
Everybody good? Okay, so do you need a motion or anything, or just action?
Yes, I will need, usually I put it down.
I got it
Yeah.
here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll need a motion and a second, and it will go to city council. Well, we'll go back to finance to take a second.
Can I make the motion to approve fiscal year 27 budget proposal as presented?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to keep the proposal as it is. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, so we will move forward and take that to city council. Is that all we needed for that one?
That's all. I was just thanking
Fantastic.
Jessica for staying late for us.
Jessica? Thank you so much.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you for being
You're
here.
welcome.
We
Ready
do
to
appreciate all you're doing.
tell
My
us
one
what we-
question, I'm glad I could help.
I was about
It was
to-
important, though. All right, so we are 9D, right? Yes. Discussion, action regarding the Economic Development Service Agreement between the City of Cibolo and the Cibolo Economic Development Corporation for FY '27.
Me again. As mentioned previously, in previous agendas, we had the budget and the MOU stacked on top of each other for review. Last meeting, the board voted 4-0 unanimously to send the MOU on to city council. I saw fit to bring it back for one more round, given that we not barely, but we had a minimum amount for a quorum. I wanted an opportunity for the whole board, should they have any questions in an open meeting, to ask them. A few of the changes, Mr. Peterson, you've heard this evening, is that the salaries for the economic development staff, benefits and everything for Luke and I are into this, and the future marketing administration position is included in this MOU. I have the red line up. The red line and the clean version, if you will, are on your packet. If you have any questions or edits, what we can do to keep the timeline on the MOU to go to council on the 28th is if there are edits. Luckily, we have Mr. Garza here. If there's any legal questions about the edits, We can do those in real time, but I would hope that you all have reviewed it. Nothing has changed since the first 2 times, with the exception of the salary. I will leave it up to the board to discuss and approve, or discuss and take action.
Fantastic. Anybody have anything to?
I don't know, but I read through a couple red lines this past like 2 weeks. For my deal, this one looks totally fine to me.
Anybody have any questions or comments about it?
I do not. I think it's fine the way it's been. I don't have any questions or concerns.
You're just on the, talking about the big grant, and we've changed all that to EDGE grant, correct?
Yeah, we'll strike that out and move it to just say CEDC grants.
Great.
So if we develop another grant or some other grant comes in, the language will just match. I'll make that correction.
Thank you.
You have anything, Charity?
I do not.
David?
Just making sure I understand, Clancy, the whole agreement is reviewed annually, so the pay scales and everything are updated as part of that.
Yes, sir. The pay scale gets updated annually. We receive the new pay scale from HR. It didn't show up really in the red line copy, but it is in that clean copy.
Mm-hmm.
But this is reviewed annually for appropriateness.
So we'll go through this process this time next year?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Just wanted to make sure.
Everybody good? Then we'll need
the motion with Terry's edit related to grants, just to change the language to say CEDC grants and not CEDC big grants.
Okay.
And I have the line item from Terry's email. That's a quick change.
Okay.
It won't have any, no offense to Frank, it won't have any legal binding for anything. It just delete that one word.
Perfect. So I'll need a motion to make that change for this CEDC grant line, and then to adopt it and send it to, do we have to send it to council?
Yes.
Okay, then it'll go to council.
Okay.
Make you go, oh.
You got it?
So I'll move to approve the professional services agreement with our city of Cibolo and direct the EDC staff to take the recommendation to council at the next available meeting, likely the July 28, 2026 meeting, with the one edit of addressing grants, striking the word big grant and just addressing grants in general. Thank you.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Fantastic.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
All right, so moving on to 9E, discussion action on contract with the Decor IQ for the holiday lighting project in Old Town.
Okay. We, much like, I think there's a theme this evening. These are things we've been discussing since April. During the April Strategic Economic Development Plan workshop, budget workshop that we had, we discussed doing holiday piazza in downtown. The original quote we had, previous meeting, the board had expressed interest in extending some of the pole elements down to Borgfeld. I received feedback from some board members of problems with some of that plan. One thing that, and I'll just admit, I didn't think about height and scale. I'm a big guy. It's hard for me to think about that stuff. Those toy soldiers are 8 feet tall. Our poles are only 19 feet tall. We would have a clearance issue with the trucks. So it's one of those things that I just did not think about. And Justin actually pointed it out where I was like, yeah, that would be a big issue to pay for 17 of those that get hit on Main Street. So we have version 2, which is in your packet, which includes a solution to that problem. The other version is the expansion. If we swung that home run swing, we obviously can't do anything hanging off our pole lights. Version 2 is the scaled back version. It's no roof lines, it's no poles. It's a beautiful tree and a sleigh to take pictures on. In addition to that, if the board sees fit and just wants to fund the tree for this first year project, that is also fine, and that's what's included on the dais. They got back to me after posting. through no fault of her own, but that's the one just for the tree. You just basically back out the 11,000 for the sleigh. This tree, I'll pull up a picture, is 24 feet tall, LED tree, ornaments, the whole package, and a tree topper. The board has a plethora of options at their disposal. They can fund the project in any of the versions, or they can choose not to fund the project at all. I will say, as staff, we are taking direction from you all on this project. Luke, do you remember what catalog that was in? It's not a light tree like that. It's no. Well, it's kind of like this one right here.
And that's going to be downtown, like,
It will be where the current tree goes.
Right in front of French's Coffee.
Yeah, right at the railroad lease there. Yeah. The idea would be, if should the board choose to fund this project in any capacity, is to make a annoying banner that's going to be in everybody's photo that they may or may not edit out to say this is provided and paid for by the Cibolo Economic Development Corporation. The idea of this whole project was to bring people into Old Town to spend money in bills and tills. It's kind of taken a mind of its own. It's been a little bit more than we could imagine when we were thinking about 8-foot things on 19-foot poles. I'll take that one. That was a mistake on my part. The question to the board is kind of twofold. Do you want to do this project this year? Should we wait till fiscal year 27 and have more runway to do it? Should we just do the tree? Should we do the tree and the sleigh? So that's 3 options. Or should we just not do it at all and figure out a different way to support our businesses during the holiday season, whether that's a marketing push. We do open rewards, but I would be completely honest with you, open rewards is not producing the way I want it to, and we may not even do it this holiday season because it's just not giving the businesses the push that we would like to see when we spend that money on their behalf to push business to them.
I personally would like to start out small, and then if it goes well in this first year, then we can, work out a deal for what we want to do this next going fiscal year, that way we can add it into our budget for this season, the next fiscal season.
I agree. I like the idea of doing just the tree for now, especially since we're some issues with the height and clearance. We can just work on that at a later time. But I do think having a really nice tree and star is a nice photo op. I know my family, we go around to Shirts. We go to all the little areas. We even go to Cibolo Crossing because they have all the lights and the trees. We do, and I think to have people come here to Cibolo would be a great idea too. It would bring people in. I like the idea of just doing the tree for this first year.
I mean, I wouldn't mind doing the sled too. That's why I was like kind of small, right? We want to test, how easy it is to work with this company and stuff like that.
I think the sled would give a place for people to sit, but I think that would be it for me at the most, the tree and the sled and the topper.
You can sit in the sled?
I think it's a good photo op. Yeah, I
Yes,
think you
it's a photo op you can sit in.
You can sit in the sled right there, take photo op. But I know we had some issues with our tree last year with the lighting and all that, so I think a tree is very necessary for all the problems we kind of had with it.
You go over to Shirts and they have a big old thing, and just who's is bigger kind of thing.
Really, our tree was on its last leg, from what I understand, right?
I'll withhold staff opinion on it. I will say, as a person who did this in another community, it's night and day difference. And when we're talking about stress on our general fund and overtime for employees to do that work, this is a turnkey solution where Decor IQ is completely responsible for their equipment, the insurance on the tree. If it breaks, they come out within 24 hours. Just background, I managed a $100,000 project in Buda. That was this project. Every holiday season I was there. And I didn't have to worry about anything except electricity.
My opinion is kind of like just the opposite. To make it pretty, coming down and enjoying Main Street, it's the white lights that outline all of the rooftops. That brings everybody into the fold. If we can get a tree in there as well, that's perfectly fine. And if I'm decorating, I could do without the sleigh. We had the white lights in the tree. But I don't think if we're looking at this and we can afford it, I don't think it's the best idea to just nix the outlining of our businesses. I just think that's very, very, very welcoming.
I also,
So,
I don't disagree, but I also feel like if we're not doing it for the rest of Cibolo, I don't want to do it for just Old Town. And
agree.
if there are issues with clearance and different things, let's take a year or two to figure out how we include every business, every part of Cibolo, not just Old Town.
And then after we're done, we can actually put it into the budget for the next year. That's, I believe that would be the smartest way to go about this.
And we can get with the businesses and see if they would put up white lights themselves and be a part of it and things like that, if it comes down to that, or figure more solutions out.
Personally, I feel like there's a large portion of the tax dollars that go in the new areas where we have. In other areas, I love bringing businesses to Old Town. So I like having the tree there, but I also feel like we need to support the others a lot because that's where the revenue is coming from. And so I would love to see more than one tree, but, or do a tree and a sleigh here and make it photo spots. Do the walk through Cibolo, but that again, if I'm leaning in that direction, then that means that I feel like we need to table it for the next year because I feel like if we're going to do it, we need to support those that, all of them.
What if we put something together this year, small, and then we talk with everybody and find out a different solution about coming together and making photo spots or something like that?
I think the small thing to do is just the tree, or just the tree and the sled. I don't want to do anything for one business and not every business. That's how I feel about it.
I agree.
And Cibolo needs a tree.
Yeah,
I mean,
if-
that's
right.
that's one of the key things. We need a tree, you know. So
But I do like the idea of the tree and the sled because it can be together as a photo op. And it doesn't mean we won't do it again next year, but I think it's late in the year. We're just coming up with this. Let's start small. Let's start with the minimum, and then let's figure out a way to expand it. And I don't mean just the shopping centers, but to Grampy's, to Snaps, to all those businesses that we don't include. We just opened up a new Luxe Nail Lab. I mean, those businesses want, I think if we don't do all of them, we shouldn't do any. That's just how I feel. I'm
and
partial
then
to all or
especially
none.
if we're starting small, next year we can add it to the budget, and that's the biggest thing I think. Because if we go big and go to where we have a tree here in Cibolo that's or Old Town that's super big, that's photo op-y, and we can move more trees throughout the city at different places, like you're saying, give it more of a full city. We need to make sure that's in the budget for the
Is
next.
that where the $425,000 is going to go to now?
Whoa.
Technically, that's not a legal use for that money. I'm not a lawyer. I'm looking at Frank, but technically, but
Just a suggestion.
I will say, based on our conversations, we did put in a line item, not a line item, but we did put into the budget $80,000 for holiday decor. And the idea was to use some of the funds, and I won't say leftover, but reallocate some of the funds that did not spend this year for half payment, which is due before the fiscal year. Then we have that fund, and you're creating this cycle of funding. So what I am hearing from the board is the tree and the sleigh to start. I haven't heard from you yet, David, but the tree and the sleigh to start, and then we may we could use our small business subcommittee to just really discuss this and flesh this out, and work with Fulcrum, who owns Buffalo Heights. We'll just say Walmart across the street, and then Cibolo Crossing, Steel Creek, therefore, and figure out what their plans are for the holidays, and if we, I don't want to say supplement that, but how we can figure out as a body to enhance that, if it's even worth it. Sorry, Mr. Peterson, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree with kind of what's been said here. And my concern is if you hang lights on a private business, who makes them turn them on? So we spend $3,000 in string lights and the business owner doesn't feel like it, doesn't want to pay for the electricity. I don't think we have any authority to tell them they've got to turn it on. So I think there'd have to be something in there. We'd have to understand that a little bit better before, I would say that's a good idea. But yeah, I think there's a lot of businesses around this town that, would love to have support. So I agree with that idea that, we spread it broadly.
Yeah, if we can make it a big community thing, that would be fantastic, but I think that'll come next year.
I just would like to say this out loud for clarity. So it's $37,383.53 for the tree for 1 year, set up and take down and decorated.
Correct. And to give you a time frame on that tree being up, historically, what they'll do is put it up late October, early November. You hit the first holiday season, then you hit Christmas, and then it comes down that second, third week of January. Our setup being small is based on what I'm hearing from the board. That timeline will probably be adhered to very quickly. It's the larger setups they need more time to take down, because it took them almost a month to take down Buda, and they would start literally right after the first of the year.
Yeah, I think following up on that, when we talked earlier about this, Clancy, my question was this competitively bid? So I don't know if we put it out.
This is through by board, I believe.
Yes, Decor IQ is by board. If it pleases the board, I can get a second bid. There is one other company that I know of that does this. I don't know if they're by board.
And the other option would be to buy our tree and have us put it up, or are we not?
I would
Yeah,
not.
but I heard about our janky tree.
I
I'm sorry.
I would not recommend that. That's another department that would have to handle that expenditure on our behalf. Much like Public Works, we partner with them for the banners. It's Public Works' responsibility currently to put up the tree. And I think they put some garland, or maybe Catalano's put out garland last year around the light pole. But that's Public Works staff, and that's overtime. I don't want to volunteer them for a purchase we make. The way I look at this expenditure is it's all turnkey. Insurance is covered if somebody gets hurt. They're setting it up, taking it down. They're handling the electric. They're handling their portion of the electric if anything goes wrong. But to the point about competitive bidding, we can contact the other company, I think it's actually called the Christmas Company, that does lighting in this area, and see if they're by board and see if they can provide a quote. And if it's competitive, I guess what I would need is just you all to authorize within a window of cost. Well, I guess we could do a window of cost, because let me look through my notes here.
Well, you could do not to exceed this.
Not
right?
to
So
exceed, yeah.
the other one
I
comes
wrote
in
the
lower.
agenda item for this one open-ended. But you could do a not to exceed if you want to do the sleigh and the tree. We would say not to exceed 49,000, 50, whatever the board thinks. Or if we're just looking at the tree, 38,000.
I like the idea of the sled, but I also like the idea of just doing the tree this first year to kind of see how it looks, how it goes, where we are, what we're spending, and kind of see how we can improve on it the next time.
And depending if this other company, what happens with that, if they have a more competitive bid or whatever, if we go with them.
Don't we have
See
to have?
which-
Don't we have to have like three? If we do, no, this is a procurement thing.
We generally would have to have 3 bids.
Yeah. So
By board, that eliminates the 3 bid requirement. We still have to do a vet hub check, which is the new historically underutilized business check. They just combined it into veteran businesses historically underutilized. We still have to do that end.
but if we go through by board, all that's taken care of, right?
By board, we don't have to get competitive. Not that we don't have to get competitive quotes. They've already gone through the competitive process.
Yeah. That's the procurement process of being on a co-op and having
Yes.
co-ops and being a part of a co-op.
Yes.
I personally would just stick to staying on a co-op, right?
Yeah, I up to the board's direction.
I mean, I'm just saying out loud.
Okay.
I'd rather just stick to a co-op on this, and proceed with just a tree to make it, cost effective and see what we're getting our stepping into and see what kind of quality we get out of this. And then proceed from there. And then next year we can budget in even more if we want to do all the different businesses throughout Cibolo.
What is the time frame that they need to know to be able to put us on like the books to set this up?
So I have this pending on the council agenda for the meeting on the 28th, and I'm looking at the calendar date behind you. Today's the 16th. All intents and purposes, it would go on the 28th agenda for council because it is over our $15,000 threshold. They would be presented with the one option. I rewrite the report, the beautiful report. I would rewrite it for this as recommended by the EDC, and we would go right into procurement. And basically what we would do is 2 POs. We do 1 PO for fiscal year 26, 1 PO for fiscal year 27 for the other half, but they require a deposit. This being a smaller job, I think the timeline shrinks for the amount of time they need, but as soon as possible. So we're already a little bit behind the 8 ball when it comes to getting our place in line. And that's just because of their repeat business. So the idea would be after this year to expand into a multi-year contract should we want to, and that creates predictability for all of us. But that's a discussion for another time. But to answer your question, as soon as possible, as soon as they can get a thumbs up or thumbs down.
So would y'all want to make a motion for either keeping it under 50,000 to see about possibly this other company, or just make a motion for this tree or tree and a sled?
I think we should just do the tree with the topper and the frame. Just the tree for this year. Now, whether or not we want to see if there's we can do competitive pricing. It doesn't hurt if we can do it quickly, but I know we're short on time.
We can start the process tomorrow. And I have a previous relationship with the Core IQ from previous city, so I had a direct contact. But we can put it out for a quote and give them a time frame of
1 week.
I'm trying to think, Valerie, when do we have to post? Finalize our agenda items. This Monday.
So because time is of the essence for you to get it onto the council agenda, that's really the shortcoming issue. Then maybe if you do make the motion for it to not exceed the amount, and then say, and if possible, provide to council a secondary quote or what have you, then that would allow him to put the Core IQ on the agenda with the dollar amount, with the potential to be able to bring it back for the council to see the additional, if any additional bid comes in time.
Yes.
That would probably be the most judicious way to get it on the council agenda.
Yes. And just to be clear, I'm hearing the tree and the sleigh, or do you just want the tree?
Just the tree.
Okay, thank you. That would be, for the motion, it would be not to exceed.
37.
Yeah, either you can do right at the dollar figure, or generally, I round it up. Yeah, 38.
38. We were like giving it all away.
I was just making sure. I wanted clarification.
If they could throw in the sleigh for the total of 40, I'm in.
They won't. Somebody else will pay that fee for it. It'll probably be San Marcos.
But
Emotion.
but for tomorrow, we all wake up knowing that you're going to be checking the numbers with another company to see if
Yes.
we can get.
Yes, that's on my agenda tomorrow to do, first thing in the morning.
Tell them to throw on the sled for free if they want a multi-year discount. I'm just saying, work with me here.
All right, so we'll need a motion.
I'll give it a shot.
This is a very complicated one, I think.
If I'm following correctly through my notes, a motion to approve what the verbiage in the packet. The option tree only, not to exceed $40,000 or $38,000. I rounded way up, $38,000. Oh, yes, and to include a second quote, if possible.
Okay.
Thank you, Frank, or Valerie.
I make a motion that we approve the option with just the tree not to exceed 39,000 as presented, with the caveat that we will also try and find
A second quote.
a second quote,
If possible.
if possible, in a time frame that we have.
I second that motion.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Pulled everything out on that tree.
So, move on to 10, future agenda items. Mr. Clancy, does anybody have any future agenda items? Terry?
No, not future. Luke, let's just start using some brain cells to get some dates together for these committees to start meeting. Correct.
The subcommittees, yeah.
Charity?
Nothing for me.
Cody?
Heinz took mine.
David?
Nothing.
Do you have anything?
One thing I will say is with Mr. Peterson joining the board, expect the next meeting to have a heavy executive session to bring him up to speed on everything we've done in the last year plus.
Okay.
Well, actually, since you left the board, but things that are in motion right now.
I mean, these are just thoughts that run through my mind. Frank, is it improper to just always have executive session listed on an agenda?
Unless you have specific items listed, you can only go to executive session if it's something that's on your agenda or listed under executive session.
Mhm.
You just can't go into executive, it's not something.
Yeah. Okay.
To move something that's on the agenda into exec.
Okay.
Let's say you had questions on the budget that might potentially affect prospect that you guys are aware of. You wanted to have more of a discussion, you can move that into executive session for that discussion.
Okay, but simply, the verbiage is there that allows that to happen. You don't have to have that specific section. Great, great. Yeah, yeah. So Valerie says if you'll just read the paper in front of you. Thank you.
All right, so date and time for next meeting would be August 20th, 2026, 6:30, same time. And if there's nothing else, I need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We have adjourned the meeting at 8:14. Thank you all, everybody.
Thank